So today we're going to cover a little bit more information about Mindflight7 for those of you who aren't familiar with who we are and the amazing work that we've been doing the last couple of years. Lucas will take us deeper into understanding what virtual reality is, and often people sort of just think it's for gaming. There's lots of amazing educational benefits from virtual reality, which Lucas will share with us. Estee is going to delve deeper into VR and science and take you through a VR science program that we run successfully with many high school students, and then we'll talk more broadly about VR and science, and there'll be time at the end to have a Q&A. Also feel free to post your questions in the chat as we go through as well. So I am a career coach, and I've worked for over 20 years as a career coach with adults and students, and I work in high schools doing the Moresby profile feedback sessions with students. So I come at it more from inspiring students from a careers and STEM standpoint. We also have Estee, who and Lucas. Lucas is has lots of experience in technology, and he's a very innovative engineering thinking fellow who delivers lots of our amazing incursions. And Estee, as mentioned, is a teacher, and she's got lots of great experience in science and delivering and designing science programs. So we're fortunate to have a terrific team at Mindflight7. We have a team in Victoria, which is the team on the left in the white T-shirts, and we have a fantastic team in WA who've been delivering amazing programs across WA for the last couple of years. We've delivered lots and lots of incursions across the country to lots and lots of schools, both remote, delivering programs to remote schools as well as inner city areas. And we have many, we've got about 30 VR rooms that we've set up in schools so they can manage the headsets and the programs themselves, and they access a library of over 200 VR experiences, which enables them to design and customize classes based on specific learning outcomes that the teacher might be looking to work towards. So that's been a pretty innovative solution that progressive schools have been implementing over the last 18 months or so. And yeah, so there's if you have an incursion, you'll be fortunate to meet our team in person. If you've had an incursion at your school or organise one, you'll get to meet them all. So we're just going to watch a short video, which you know, with VR, seeing is believing. So it's a case of just giving you a little snippet if you're new to VR about what it's all about. We'll just hand over to Lucas to talk a little bit more about virtual reality.
So virtual reality basically is, well, it's in the name. It's a reality that gets created around us virtually. So it's an immersive experience that we put ourselves in so that we can experience things that are beyond what we would typically be able to experience. You can also just do the basic stuff, like you could have a virtual reality of your lounge room while sitting in your lounge room, but you could also have a virtual reality of being on the moon while sitting in your lounge room. And that's kind of like the whole purpose of it. A lot of people have this misconception that it's purely just for gaming. But as we're going to explain a bit more later, it's used for a wide range of things now. So a lot of industries are currently using it, as well as it being used for education, as what we do. And then also the gaming side of things as well. But yeah, that's pretty much a quick summary on virtual reality.
Thanks, Lucas. So as we know, science helps us understand and interact with the world around us. It is, more importantly, a collaborative process. So it connects with other avenues such as technology, health, and engineering and maths and many more. It teaches us trial and error, research, and also how to collect and analyze factual evidence. There are many transferable skills that we can actually develop from science, such as problem solving, creativity, and communication. And these important attributes can actually be transferred into all aspects of life and learning. So this is something that's really important that students understand when they're actually learning science in the classroom as well. So how do we enhance science by using VR? Well, students will have the opportunity to explore realistic scenarios by seeing and feeling the skills and techniques involved within different focus areas. So here we have students in different scenarios. We've got a student traveling to another part of the world, observing animals in their natural habitat, another student performing surgery, and the last student exploring space. So these VR experiences are fully immersive, and they give students the opportunity to independently explore and interact with real-life situations. At Mindflight7, we offer a variety of science-based incursions, and these include STEAM careers incursion, space mission, biodiversity and climate change, natural disasters, sustainable practices, and biology. Our environmental science stream of flights are pretty new, so they've recently been developed, and they were piloted in schools, and we also are in talks of introducing some other content-specific flights, such as sport and exercise science in the future. So keep your eyes peeled for more in the future as well. One of the more successful and more popular, just from observation and feedback from students, has been the biodiversity and climate change flight. So I will be going through that in a bit more detail, as well as the STEAM careers one. So our general careers flight is actually one of our mostly booked flights in general. So we do have a STEAM version of that, so I'll go through that today as well. So in the STEAM careers flight, students have the opportunity to basically explore many different experiences within the headsets. So they're not limited to one or two, they're not limited to specific types. There's a whole range that cover all aspects of STEAM within the headsets. So the flight is available to students in year 7 through to 12, and the flights can run for 60 or 90 minutes. We do talk about things like the skills that are required in certain experiences, how STEAM is utilized, what kind of skills you need to use, such as problem solving, precision, and so on, and how the skills and knowledge developed through STEAM education can actually be applied in specific settings. We also then discuss fixed and growth mindset, which is something that's really important thinking about careers. So them understanding that they don't necessarily have to like everything or be good at everything, but trying something new is where they're going to develop confidence and more skills and knowledge about themselves, but also real life situations as well. Okay, so the flight structure, just briefly, we do start off with an introduction, which is basically just a description of the flight and what they'll be doing, what to expect. We do an induction of how to use the controllers and the headset. So even if students have never tried VR before, they will have an understanding of what they need to be doing. We then allow them to choose their experiences for the first activity and for the second activity. So they go into the headsets for about 20 minutes, and we get them to choose any experiences they want to do, whatever they're interested in. It could be a specific subject area, or something that they enjoy doing as a hobby, or something that they're just really curious about. We then bring them out of the headset and have a bit of a discussion about their experience. What did they do? What did they explore? What kind of skills did they need to use? And so on and so forth. That's when we talk about fixed and growth mindset as well. We then get them to go back into the headsets, this time with a growth mindset, and we encourage them to select 1 or 2 experiences that they think that they might not enjoy, or they think they might not be very good at. So this allows them to kind of just push their comfort zone a little bit and get them trying some new things.
I had a student, Esther, who did the fixed and growth mindset, who went in and did multi-brush, and he was a student at a boys' school, and he said he wasn't creative, and he went into multi-brush and he found the mannequin to do fashion design.
Yep.
And he loved it. So it just shows you, that artistic ability was there, but he thought, hey, I'm not creative, I'm not artistic, and you couldn't get him off it. So it just shows you, when you do give them that opportunity, how many have wonderful experiences with it.
And the great thing about it as well is that it's such an individual and independent experience. So nobody can see what you're doing. Nobody knows what you're doing in the headset. So you can choose whatever you like with no judgment, no pressure. And, you don't have to share what you've done in the headset either. So it can be your little secret that you decided that you tried some artistic design and loved it. So that's the great thing about VR. And to conclude, we basically just recap on fixed and growth mindset, and then we get the students to actually discuss amongst themselves about the experiences that they did try, and which ones they thought they wouldn't like, and how they made them feel, and if they learnt anything about themselves from the experience. So moving on to biodiversity and climate change, this flight is actually available for grade 5 through to year 12. It is modified to suit different year levels. So the topic is the same, biodiversity and climate change. However, the discussion points, the questions that we ask, the language that we use then is changed to suit the year level. These flights can run for 60 or 90 minutes. However, I would not recommend 90 minutes for grade 5s and 6s. It is just a little bit too long for them. They start to lose their cool, and they get a bit antsy. So 60 minutes is perfect for primary school, and 90 minutes works quite well with year 9 and over. So we have pilot tested this particular flight with grade 5s and year 9s. And the feedback from both has been really positive, and has left them wanting more. So I've just got a couple of quotes from our feedback form, which we got the students to fill out after the flights. And some of them were just fantastic. There were so many different quotes and comments from them. As we can see here, we've got things like, I got to see dinosaurs, which is amazing. I got to choose which place I wanted to explore. So the fact that they can choose and it's readily available, it's right there. They don't even have to think about it. It was cool and made you feel like you were swimming. I saw a baby deer and I patted it. I liked that I could really interact with my favorite ecosystem, and we got to explore nature and different types of habitats. So some different comments there, some great feedback we've had from this flight. We do also link our flights to the curriculum. So with the biodiversity and climate change flight, it is linked to quite a variety of different key learning areas and strands within the curriculum. So it's not just science that it actually covers. There's a bit of geography in there. And if we do the 90-minute version, it's actually got some visual arts in there as well. We do use the Australian curriculum because we are national company. So we use the Australian curriculum so that it's suitable for all states. So the main experiences used in this flight are cataclysmic Earth, nature treks, and ocean rift. Multi-brush, which is the experience that Kelly was describing before, is only used in the 90-minute session because we do need that extra time. And I'll explain why a little bit later. So students travel to specific locations to discover the behaviours of animals in their natural habitats, as well as the issues facing certain ecosystems due to cases of climate change, deforestation, hunting, and overfishing. They gain an understanding of the differences between environments and animals from contrasting parts of the globe. Seeing and learning about the different parts of the world allows them to gain an understanding of why the ecosystems differ and their role across the globe. They also have the opportunity to discuss ways in which our actions affect the environments, and then how that in turn also affects us. So I do have some video footage of the apps that we use. So we've got Cataclysmic Earth, Nature Treks, and Ocean Rift. I do not have video footage of Multibrush. We'll keep that one a surprise for everyone. So I do have some video footage, which I will just play for you now.
We've landed in Iceland for a field trip about volcanic eruptions and their connection to our climate. This is what Iceland looks like at night. It's so far north you can see the northern lights, also known as the aurora borealis.
When it comes to understanding how human beings impact the planet, there are just a few things you need to know. Although humans are a part of nature, our tendency to multiply, innovate, and build has interrupted many of the world's natural processes.
We are in Glacier National Park in Montana, and I am standing right now on the shores of Lake McDonald. So glaciers are typically considered to be a really good indicator of global climate change. Even a small fluctuation in temperature, we're talking maybe even a 1% yearly increase or decrease Celsius in temperature, can cause dramatic changes in glacier.
Angelfish can be found on shallow reefs in the tropical Atlantic, Indian and Pacific Oceans. Most are between 10 to 30 centimeters in length, though some species can reach up to 60 centimeters.
Okay, so as we saw in the video, some of the experiences are quite realistic, and there is a range of different types of interactivities and sort of linear video footage as well. So the first experience we watched was Cataclysmic Earth. Now, in this flight, again, we have our introduction and induction as we usually do for every flight. In Cataclysmic Earth, there are actually a variety of options that the students can choose from. So there's 4 different areas that they can explore. And in the video, we saw Iceland, we saw Glacier National Park, and we saw the biodiversity interrelatedness area. There is also a video footage of a tornado information video as well, which we use for the natural disasters flight. So with the grade 5s and 6s, they only do the biodiversity module within Cataclysmic Earth, Whereas in year 7 to 12s, they can choose whichever module they want. So they can visit Glacier National Park, they can do the biodiversity area, they can complete more than one and however many they want within the time frame. We usually give them about 10 to 15 minutes to explore this particular app. We then come out for a discussion. Where did they visit? What did they learn? What did they see? And then we talk a little bit about biodiversity and climate change as well. We then get them to head back into the headsets and they can then explore in a more interactive way nature treks and ocean rift, which we also saw in the video there. So nature treks is fantastic because there's a wide variety of different environments, as you could see in that gallery. And we encourage them to visit as many as they can within the time, because as you saw, you can actually interact with the environment. You can grow trees and you can spawn rocks and have the animals flock together. But it changes in every environment. So the trees will be different. The rocks will be different. Some of them have flowers that you can actually sprout. And the animals are obviously different in every environment as well. Ocean rift is quite realistic. It's absolutely amazing. As you could see, we visited a couple of different marine life areas. There are several, so that block menu goes all the way around, and there are many to choose from. And kids absolutely love this experience as well. So it's another interactive one. They can also listen and read the information and just go exploring and looking for different types of marine life, which is awesome. Once they come out of the headset, we also then again discuss where they visited, what they saw, what they liked, what they learnt, and then we might zone in on things like similarities and differences between certain environments and animal adaptation as well. If it's a 90-minute flight, everything is the same, except we do extend the time in the headsets for activity 1 and 2. So we give them a little bit longer. And then what happens is we do a group activity where the students actually, we split them up into small groups or 2 large groups, depending on how many students there are within the actual flight. And we get them to collaborate with each other and discuss environmental problems. And I mean, the topics surrounding this can change depending on the age group and also the current learning focus as well. So they discuss a current environmental problem or something that has been solved in the past. So any solutions to environmental problems pre-existing or something new that they might want to come up with as well. And they might also decide that they want to discuss adaptation and natural selection. For example, emperor penguins who crowd together to share their warmth in Antarctica. So just depending on the focus, the learning focus is how we will then determine what topic they discuss. What we then get them to do is take their idea or whatever they've discussed, and we send them into multi-brush, and they design either a product that they've talked about within their group that will solve an environmental problem or has in the past, such as solar panels, for example, or electric cars. And they can illustrate their solution to an environmental problem in multi-brush. So this is a 3-dimensional, 360-degree art design space, and the opportunities are endless. As you can see in the little picture down the bottom here on the side, that's my attempt at a volcano. So the brush strokes are really creative. There's movement in them as well, and they make sounds as well, which is really fun. So the students might decide that they want to show the before and after effects on an environment, or illustrate the organism that is adapting to its environment. So they might like to draw the emperor penguins crowding together in Antarctica. So this just gives them that little bit of creativity and thinking time as well afterwards. And then to conclude the flight, we actually get them to do a gallery walk, which is pretty fun. So we place all the headsets on the chairs and have the students walk around the room and look into each other's headsets to see what they've created. And some of the things that they come up with is just absolutely amazing. So this experience provides a virtual but realistic tour of specific environments, which most would not have the opportunity to visit in person. All of Mindflight7 VR incursions bring the outside world into the classroom. It's a great tool to expand on and enhance the classroom learning experience as well. So we do have Science Week coming up, which is very fitting. We are quite busy for Science Week. We are fully booked with incursions. However, there may be a chance of some availability of incursion bookings for the week prior or the week after. So it can be used as a lead up or a conclusion to Science Week. And I'm going to now pass you over to Kelly, who can talk to you a little bit about how to book an incursion and what to expect and so on.
Thanks, Estee, for taking us through some of the amazing science incursions that you run, which has been terrific. So if people are interested to learn more about Mindflight7, there's lots of different ways that we can provide information to you. We can do a demonstration at your school. We also do fly-in, fly-out virtual demonstrations. We fly the headsets to you and can deliver a demonstration to you virtually. Particularly, that's more for schools that might be remote and harder to get to. But definitely for, until you, I guess if you haven't done VR, until you put that headset on, it's hard to sort of imagine all the possibilities. And while we shared some videos with you, as you can appreciate, it's very different when you're actually immersed and it's like you're there versus watching your video. So while the videos are a good taste, they probably don't necessarily do it justice, because as Esther was saying, say, for example, with Ocean Rift, it is like you are physically in the water and under the water. Or with Mission ISS, it is, it does trick your brain. It's like you are in space doing all those things. So the experiences are super, super real. But yeah, so if people are interested to learn more, feel free to put some questions in the chat, or you can email us and we can provide additional information about the incursions that we offer and the pricing. So more than happy to share any of that information with people. We do run, we often find, so for example, with the careers incursions, a school might want to do all the Year 9 students at once. So we will be out there for the day delivering 2 or 3 classrooms concurrently. So we deliver the incursion to up to 30 students in a classroom. So each student has their own headset, and there's 2 Mindflight7 staff members delivering those incursions. And so, yes, so we might be able to do like 5 classes in a day. And that could be for a science incursion as well. So often we find that the schools do want to provide that experience to the entire year level. So we do offer that as well. Did anyone have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself or put the questions in the chat. Lucas is monitoring the chat and is happy to kind of read out or share any of the questions people might have.
If you have any questions, about the other flights that we didn't cover today, I'm happy to go through some of those with you as well, as we do still have some more time. So if you've got any questions about them or anything else, feel free to ask away. Something.
What's the sustainable practice flight and its costs? So I can talk about the costs, and I'll hand over to Estee to talk about the flight. So for a 60-minute flight, it's $20 per student. And if it was a 90-minute flight, it's $25 per student for the flight. And we come out to you with all the headsets. We just ask that you have a space available for us. So it's very easy for the school just to provide the space. Obviously, a teacher needs to be present in the room, and our team come in and set up and deliver the incursion, and every child gets a headset, and then we deliver the incursion and pack up and go. So it's all very seamless. But Esther, you can talk more about the actual flight.
I can. Okay, so in sustainable practices, this is a newie as well. So this was done with senior secondary. It is available for senior secondary 10 to 12. Flights have been tested at 60 minutes, and they use specific experiences. So they begin by watching a 360-degree video in the coral reef, and then they go into expeditions in ecology, which is a similar setup to Cataclysmic Earth, where there's different areas that they can explore, but obviously different subject areas. And then they finish off in nature treks as well. So the things that they basically talk about and explore in there is linking the characteristics of pollutants to their impacts on the Earth's 4 interrelated systems. Within the flight, they focus on only 2 of them, the hydrosphere and the biosphere, for the session. And they examine the emerging opportunities to mitigate pollution discharge and manage the adverse effects of pollution for living and non-living things. So it's very much based around pollution and the interrelatedness of the system. So that is what sustainable practices is. And as you can see, it is more so suitable for the senior secondary.
Great. Did anyone have any questions about any of the other flights that Esther showed initially? If people wanted to go into detail about any more of the flights, or if there were any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Oh, sorry, is there a limit on the number of students per session? Yep. We run it via classroom, so we tend to have about 30 in a classroom that we would have, but we run parallel classrooms, so you could have 2 classrooms running concurrently of 30 students in each. All right, well, thank you. That was a great question, Barbara. And before we wrap up, are there any more questions? No. All right. Well, thank you everyone for your time, for joining us today. We hope you've got some information and some new insights about VR and science and how it can be incorporated into your classrooms. Feel free, as I said, to reach out if there's any questions. We will send around a recording of the webinar as well for people who want to watch or share it with colleagues. And yeah, we thank you for your time this afternoon. And thanks, Esther and Lucas.
Thank you, Kelly. Thanks, Lucas.
No worries, that was good.